Aloha, everyone, and welcome to Language of the Soul Astrology. I'm Aurelia Starr. Today is Tuesday, May 11th, and we have a new moon in Taurus happening in the next hour or so. And I've been up since about 5 o'clock this morning. I've had a very interesting morning. I'd like to start today with a little bit of sage. It's something a little different than what I normally do. I'm just going to kind of wing things today. I've got a lot that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the earth. You know, we have the moon in Taurus, and the earth has so many beautiful, beautiful gifts for us. This morning I ate my breakfast outside. I'm fortunate to live up in the country, surrounded by a lot of acreage and goats munching on grass and all those nice little peaceful, serene Venusian Taurus things. I had a powerful healing yesterday by a powerful healer. I was surprised, and I think so was she. It put me back in touch with, I'm not a big person on past lifetimes, even though I'm an evolutionary astrologer. I do believe that whether we actually lived other lifetimes or whether those memories come to us and through us, through our ancestry, our DNA, or our genetics, I've been in touch with some really powerful, powerful events and memories that are bringing up a lot of grief, but also making a lot of sense in my life today and speak to my evolution. And astrology is such a powerful tool in that way. And so, getting an astrology reading or working with someone who is in touch with that type of knowledge can really, really do amazing things for your life and moving forward. So I want to talk about this new moon at 21 degrees of Taurus. A new moon is a time of new beginnings. And depending on where that new moon falls in your own birth chart, it's an area of life where you may be ripe for new beginnings. It's always good to know where that is. And if anybody wants to send me an email or, send a response in the comments to watching this video, and you can give me your birth date and your birth time and your birthplace, I can let you know where this new moon is happening for you and what field and what area of your life and where you're ripe to have some new intentions and some new beginnings. And so partially with the new moon in Taurus, we are establishing something new in the area of a feeling of inner peace and calm and serenity and of being in the present moment, of being close to Mother Nature, being close to Mother Earth, and all of the resources and abundance and grains and food and agriculture and farming and sustainability, a sense of belonging with people and with nature and with animals that the earth brings for us. And so Taurus is about our security and our comforts, and it's an earth sign, and it's tuned into the body and to physical pleasures and sensuality and touching and being touched and eating delicious foods and listening to beautiful music and wearing beautiful clothing. The more natural, organic cotton, the better. Natural fibers. Taurus is the archetype of the builder, the provider, the earth spirit, the nature spirit, the gardener, the musician, the chef. And so how are we tuning into that energy, and in what area of our life? Like if the new moon is in your 6th house, maybe you're establishing new beginnings in the area of health and work and your daily routines and your service to others and learning new skills. If it's in your 7th house, maybe you're beginning new intentions in your partnerships and your relationships and both giving and receiving a greater sense of commitment and cooperation and love and intimacy. So it's just as important to know where the new moon is happening for you in addition to what the new moon is about. This new moon is forming a trine to the planet Neptune, which is so beautiful, and I'm so feeling that this morning. And Neptune, it's interesting. Taurus is ruled by the planet Venus, and more modernly, the asteroid or dwarf planet Ceres. And so Ceres, everyone pronounces it a little differently, and Venus tunes us into our sense of beauty and aesthetics, but it's also our values and our principles and love and being receptive to love and seeking intimate balance within our relationships. And Ceres is about, connecting to the divine mother, to the feminine energy. It's very feminine yin energy. And how do we tune into that sense of nurturing and abundance and of being provided for, of belonging to that? So, it's also about self-worth and self-esteem, and how do we build that, our sense of deserving, our sense of being enough. And when we look at the connection to Neptune and the harmony that this new moon is forming with Neptune, which is dignified in its own sign of Pisces right now, Neptune and Pisces, it's this very mystical, poetic, psychic, tuning us into the subconscious, where we're, dissolving the boundaries between consciousness and unconsciousness, the ego and the soul. It's about unity and a sense of oneness. And if Venus, ruling this new moon in Taurus, is the planet of earthly human love, Neptune is about the divine love. It's about a greater love in the universe and compassion and sharing, and being able to connect with everyone. Neptune is associated with the 12th house in astrology and Pisces. And the 12th house is all about our differing levels of consciousness. And some believe that the Akashic records are there. And the Akashic records would be like a recording of every thought and every memory and every experience that anyone has ever had throughout the entirety of their life or lifetimes. And, they say that we only use about 10% of our conscious mind. So we've got 90% of this programming that's running underneath and possibly running us. And so unless we're engaged in some form of consciousness raising activities like meditation and yoga and spiritual practice and quieting the mind, and for me, writing is an amazing way, astrology is an amazing way for me to get into those deeper realms, those deeper levels where I'm not shadowboxing all of my demons and hidden enemies that can appear in life or within myself, which brings me to want to talk about Pluto, which just went retrograde, and how that's fitting into this new moon cycle the way that I see it. Pluto has been retrograde for about a week now. I'm not exactly sure of the timing, but it's long enough for us to understand that we're going deep within our psyches. Deep within our psyches. I mean, I feel it happening more and more and more, and what it's about is really, we've had so much with the pandemic and people dying and people fighting over whether you should get a vaccine or not get a vaccine, people fighting and arguing over whose life matters and whose life doesn't, and whether you should wear a mask or not wear a mask, and so much opposition. And so this is really a time of coming together. and establishing new beginnings in our sense of oneness, of the condition of human suffering, and the things that we all have in common. You know, we all experience the grief when someone we love is suffering or dying. We all have to eat. We all have to feed our bodies. Excuse me. And so this new moon in Taurus, you know, Taurus is an earth sign, and it's very connected to the body. How are we taking care of our bodies? What are we putting into our bodies? Are we exercising? Are we getting enough sunlight and fresh water and organic foods? Or are we filling this temple that we have with a bunch of junk? And how are we using that Neptunian energy that definitely has the urge to escape, because there is so much suffering on this planet. But there's also a lot of beauty. And there's also a lot of love, both between humans and plants and animals and the earth, and a divine love of a spiritual nature. So I see this new moon connecting with Neptune as a meeting of our earthly energies, really in this beautiful sense of harmony to all that is, all that we are, all is one, like the John Lennon song. And so we really want to tune into that energy and get spiritual with it, like whatever your form of spirituality is. And I'm not talking about religion here. I'm not saying that they can't be one and the same, but often they are not. And I'm not dogging religion. So, you know, it's just that is doctrine that is man-made and written by man and created by man. I'm talking about a sense of spirituality that came in long before religion was ever created, long before the birth of Christ. You know, where we connected through looking at the sky and seeing this sense of familiarity in the stars. I'm getting emotional. It's been that kind of day. I'm just going to move through it because I want to say what I'm saying. We've got to tune back into... I've never done this in a video before. Let me try to be strong and suck it up. You know, tuning into that sense of magic, that sense of faith and trust, and really allowing ourselves to be compassionate, not only towards others, but to find that sense of compassion and gentleness for ourselves. The other big thing that's happening this week, and again, this isn't a typical astrology report today like I usually do, because I did a daily snippets yesterday with my video girl, and I think she'll be releasing the daily astrology, and you can certainly check the daily written astrology that I post on my Facebook page every single day. But I want to talk about Saturn going retrograde this Sunday. And so we had Pluto retrograde last week. I already talked about that. It's about taking our power back. It's about cleaning out the garbage cans of our psyches. You know, what crap is stewing in there? It's time to let it go, to release grief, and to release all of the things that stand in the way of our sense of authenticity and our own evolution and moving forward. And sometimes we have to put our own oxygen mask on to do that and go inward. And so the planets are all, you know, we're beginning the retrograde season, and we're getting this amazing chance to go inward. And so when Saturn stations direct at 13 degrees and 31 minutes of Aquarius on Sunday, you know, Saturn is the representative, it's the Lord of Karma. Saturn rules Capricorn in the 10th house, and it's about our sense of reality, our discipline, our ambition. I think of Saturn as the stern taskmaster, and it's like, you know, this strict, stern teacher that says, hey, you know, there's things to do. We have responsibilities to ourselves, to other people, to humanity, and you better get them done. Saturn also rewards penny for penny for every bit of hard work you do. You will be rewarded. So essentially, it's the planet of karma. You will reap what you sow, and this year is really a year of manifestation. But there's a lot of breaking down. There's a lot of things breaking down, but it's breaking down so that we can break through. And so this, as Saturn stations to go retrograde, it's forming a trine. So we have Saturn in Aquarius, trine to the North Node and Gemini, and the Moon in Libra when it goes. When we have that snapshot of it going backwards. And so I feel like this is giving us a ton of support to make the changes that we're making in our lives. And if we're not making changes, then probably you're feeling really depressed, because even though we're in a new moon in Taurus that likes things to stay the same and stay stable, Uranus, the great awakener, is in the sign of Taurus right now, and it's all about change, and how we gain a new sense of security through change. So let's get back to the Saturn retrograde. A lot of people, Saturn gets a bad rap in astrology, and people are like, oh no, I have a Saturn transit coming, or a Saturn return, or a Saturn something. I happen to love Saturn. It's not always pretty, and sometimes it can feel a little melancholy and a little harsh, because we have to deal with some red tape and situations that require hard work and patience and perseverance. And not all of us are so good at that, especially in this day and age of instant gratification where everybody wants everything now. I think of that, who was it? Veruca Salt. I always bring this up in Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I want it now, Daddy. And we live in this society where we want it now. And so with Saturn going retrograde, it's saying, well, we might not get it right now. There might be, we may have to work hard for some delayed gratification. We have to put the work in. It's like if you're going to build a brick building, how is it built? We don't just snap our fingers like Genie, ding, 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 and all of a sudden there's a building. I mean, brick by brick, we have to lay the mortar, we have to stack the brick, we have to look at our work, we have to allow the cement to dry. And so, between the Pluto retrograde and between Saturn going retrograde, there is this urgency within our careers, within our work, and whatever's going on in our personal astrology of how we're solidifying our foundations that have been essentially rocked by change. And there's more change coming, so we might as well get used to the change. I know a lot of people don't want to be inward. They don't want to be isolated. They want to be out and about. I've welcomed the opportunity to have some alone time and not feel guilty about it. But anyway, we are reaching a time period where we have to work. We've got to work hard for what we want. And with the new moon in Taurus today, it would be a great idea to, light a candle, keep the fire burning, keep the light, I've had the light going for a couple of days, just remind yourself of the light that shines within us and all around us. The light, all it takes is one little piercing of light in a box of what appears to be complete darkness to inspire us. So keep the light going, take out a piece of paper, maybe not today, maybe, meditate upon it today. Again, I welcome everyone to send me a message and let me know your birth data. If you don't want to give it away on Facebook, just give me your phone number or private message me, and I'll let you know where the new moon is for you in Taurus. I'm assuming those of you who are watching already know how to access my Facebook page, but you can access it by tuning into Oralea Star Astrology, ORALEA Astrology Actually, it's Auralea Star with 2 R's Astrology. And that's also my website, auraleastarastrology.com. So yeah, I was talking about the new moon, and I usually like to write down, I love the number 12 for new moon intentions, and I usually write down 12 things that I mix, with whatever sign the new moon is in and whatever connections it's making. So this time it's Taurus, so it's about security, financial security. It's about my money. It's about my values and my principles. How I tune into Mother Earth, how I take care of my body, where and how am I loyal. Let me turn that off. And, also that sense of inner worth, that sense of inner belonging and self-esteem and self-worth, that's so important, because without that inner wealth, it's hard to manifest the outer wealth. So, we're starting intentions with that during this new moon. And also with Neptune there, I'm going to write some things about how I can tune into compassion. I tend to get very impatient with people. I usually move very quickly, and I love people and I'm compassionate, but I don't always express it. And so I want to tune into that sense of oneness, in the sense of all of the things that we share as human beings in common. And there is more that we share in common than what is different. I can guarantee that. And then also we want to bring in whatever house that new moon is in. For me, it's in the 6th house. So I'm lining up some new work. I've got new projects. I'm getting some new training. Essentially, I'm going to write down some intentions, and I'm going to meditate upon those. And when that little tiny crescent moon appears in the sky later this week, that's the time where you want to take some actions, great or small, on the things that you have listed on that paper, and watch how they manifest. And, I am really tuned into the earth energies with Taurus, and really tuned into some earth magic kind of stuff that I haven't done in a while. I've got my big crystal today. I've got my sage. I'm wearing my feathers. I'm like, something's happening, and I'm reminded of some old knowledge, some old magic. And so I'm allowing that to come out today. I'm sharing it with others. I hope that everyone's finding it meaningful. I think that kind of brings me to the end. There's always so much to talk about, but I know everybody's busy, so I don't want to keep droning on and on and on. Hopefully I'll have some more catch-up videos this week. Wednesday looks like a really great, lovely, light day. The weekend looks really challenging. So we want to rest up and really get our self-esteem and self-worth together, because there could be some challenges to that this weekend. The moon will be in Cancer, and the more childhood trauma you had, the tougher this weekend could be, unless you've done a whole lot of work on yourselves. Either way, we're going to get a chance to practice responding in ways that mend broken bridges rather than create more wreckage. And focusing on how we can be kind, because to whatever extent we hurt others, we also hurt ourselves. So on that note, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Wishing everyone a lovely new moon in Taurus today. Make the most of it. And until the next time, may the stars and spirit be with you. Much aloha.